Let's go ahead and hop on in to game number one. Game one of our semifinals. Spawning in the upper left-hand corner of Hard Lead, we have Team Liquid's Cure. He's on a tear right now. Getting through the Protoss. He took down Firefly, the big up-and-coming name. He took down Classic, who made it further than any other Protoss in DreamHack Atlanta. Is looking very strong. Cure, though, gets out on top. His opponent in the lower right-hand corner very recently became teamless as his contract with Matcherino Esports ended. He is looking for a team, and he's looking hard because he has had a great run today. It is NightMare. He started off the day by taking down Stats in a PvP, getting revenge for the IM Katowice qualifiers. And then he took down both Gumiho and Oliveira. Back-to-back, two of the best Terrans in the world. And now he is up against yet another best Terran in the world, who also looking really good against Protoss. So I don't actually know what to expect between these two in this game. A proxied barracks is not necessarily high on my list of things to expect from these two in this game. But Cure's going to go for a cheeky proxy Reaper, hoping to catch NightMare off guard. But NightMare, scouting with the probe, sees, hey, you don't have one of those base things, so or one of those barracks things. I'm going to go ahead and build a Zealot, and this Zealot is really going to help NightMare defend. Sees the factory going down back and home as well for Cure. I think he might have canceled that Zealot and then restarted it. He's going to Chrono Boost now. Stalker on the way behind this. The Reaper might be able to get a couple of kills still. Well, some good pullbacks here from NightMare. Yeah, look at this. Ooh, but the Reaper gets the kill. It gets one. The second one. Almost. The probes turn and fight. And now the Stalker is out. The Reaper gets deflected. In the meantime, this SCV almost dies to the probe. But it looks like the second Reaper will be able to get the kill on that SCV. Or on the probe, rather. So a little bit of a cheeky opening here from Cure, being annoying. But now he's going to have to float his barracks all the way home. Well, he heads towards a Widowmine drop and a second base. NightMare's natural is already done, though. So he should be able to make up for that little bit of damage, the two probes, quite easily. As long as he can keep these Reapers away. I don't know if I love this for Cure. He's going to have no barracks production for a while. I guess that's not the worst thing in the world. But was it worth it? That's the question we got to ask ourselves. Reapers decide to jump up. They want to see what's going on in here. They want to spot this Twilight Council, get the confirmation. They probably won't be able to do too much more than that. Can they get the one kill? No, the probes say, get out. Get out, that's my friend. I don't want you to kill my friend. Ooh, no, it doesn't happen. Damn, the probes again with the citizen's arrest. Stopping that Reaper from getting to their friend. Beautiful. You love to see that kind of friendship. You know, one of my favorite bands have a song about friendship. I think what they say is, friendship is rare. Don't you know what I'm saying to you? Friendship is rare. My derriere. When you find out much later that they don't really care. It's rare to me. Can't you see? You love that kind of friendship. And now, these probes sacrificing themselves for the greater good. Okay, that didn't quite happen up here. That third Widowmine got a few more kills. So 6 more probes go down. Cure is on that harassed train right now. He just wants to keep NightMare's economy down. Keep him from getting up to where he needs to be. To, be scary to fight against, right? NightMare, though, he's got a third base halfway done already. The worker count is in Cure's favor, so NightMare's going to have to do something about that. I wouldn't hate to see a Chrono Boost on a couple of probes. Try to get back up into that. But he's got Blink finishing up. This medevac is hiding in the corner. The fact that it can do that is so painful. Also, just noticing this nice little doodad here of the Thor being built in the woods. It's kind of a cool looking Thor too. This looks like a I don't know, like a salvaged Thor, doesn't it? It's being fixed in the woods by like a group of Terrans that are hiding somewhere. Trying to fix up the Thor, get it working so they can use it against the Dominion. And the Protoss are just leaving it be. They do not care about these Terrans. They're taking forever to build this Thor, so I guess it's fine. There's a Raven over here as well. Cure, again, wants to keep that harassment going. This Widow Mine is going to get burrowed. But it turns out Blink is pretty good. Yeah, it's not going to get any damage done. So that's finally taken care of. Cure tried to be sneaky with it. Didn't quite work. I think these guys are waiting for another drop, or maybe they're waiting for this Raven. Kicking the microphone again, as I do. Cure starts up his third base. He's got a nice little army here. Looks like stim and combat shields are done for these guys. He's got a couple of siege tanks. But now NightMare's going to move across the map. He's got some zealots and a warp prism. Charge is done for them. He doesn't have storm, though. It's something we've seen from him lately in these games. Is a pretty quick storm. He does not have that. He's going to run into a bunch of bio. Forces a stim, at least, and then backs out. He's going to try to poke the front right now with the Stalkers, too. But the tanks are there. And NightMare, he's got to blink out immediately. Great reaction time from him, though. I got to say, some of NightMare's play today has been extremely clean. Been very impressed with NightMare in this bracket so far. So let's go in. They get one SCV kill and delay this barracks, and then they go out. The Observer sieges up, but I think Cure has spotted that. No, maybe not. Doesn't scan it anyways. Zealots go back in. Oh, but the Warp Prism gets taken down by the Widow Mine. That means these Zealots are not long for this world. They're just going to try to go in the main, get what they can done. Focus down a couple of SCVs, maybe. They got one. Oh, NightMare trying to catch this army in the middle of the map and actually gets a wraparound on the siege tanks. Widow Mines, though, going off on a lot of those Zealots, and the Stalkers getting caught. But they blink to the safety of behind the Zealots. And now Cure is going to stutter step against this. But NightMare's army supply just gets absolutely decimated, losing all of his Zealots and a lot of his Stalkers. He does have Colossi coming out behind this, but the Raven coming in, getting a couple of kills here. NightMare again pulling those probes off very nicely, but still a lot of economic damage being done, and the worker count is even for both players. Colossus is on its way, but Thermalance is super far away, and Cure, well, Cure is not super far away. He is right here. He is trying to come on in as another auto turret gets some damage done. Was it an auto turret? Yeah, I guess it must have been. 4 kills on that Raven. A couple of SCVs going down on the other side of the map. Those are Zealots that are not here right now. Some beautiful force fields, though, are going to buy some time. And that's exactly what NightMare needs to do right now, is buy some time. But the medevacs lift up. They go straight into the main base. And oh no, what's that I see? Is that an Artosis pylon? It may very well be. I don't think it's going to get focused down, though. Looks like Cure wants to pult it and go for the Nexus. 20 probes and the main Nexus going down here. Cure is back in a beautiful position in the corner. Where is that Colossus? I don't know if it's going to be enough on its own. The Marauders stim forward. They're going to get it, and it looks like this game is for the Terrans as Cure is trying to end NightMare's dream run in this EPT Cup. He has taken a massive supply lead, trading nicely against these Zealots even now. And while the medevacs are starting to fall, I mean, this is just consolation prizes here for NightMare as he falls under 70 supply. He'll finally clean this up. That's about all we can say about that. These Zealots on the other side of the map doing a little bit of damage. killing a couple of things, but NightMare, he's at half the worker count of his opponent. Oh my god, another auto turret lands over here too, getting even more worker damage. And NightMare realizes his position and he taps out. That's that. Sometimes like everything happens and you're not exactly sure where you're at in the game state, but there comes a moment where you realize where you are and take stock of that situation, and you're like, oh, actually, I'm so dead. So insanely dead. Ooh, and we are going to get joined mid-match by a co-caster. As we get into the next game here. As all of the other casters, they finished the topside semis. I don't know who won. Let us see. It looks like Hero was able to take down Beyond in that semis, move on to the finals. Now let us get into a call. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing on this lovely day?
Oh my god, it's been amazing. It's been a great day of StarCraft. Welcome everyone. Welcome. It's good to be Chicken, mate. It's been so long. It's been so long since we've casted together.
I know it's been too long.
It's been far too long, and it's great to be back here for ESL Open Cup Asia. I wasn't able to catch the end, but what are we getting into? What's our score?
Well, it is currently 1-0 in favor of the Terran player, who is now spawning in the lower right-hand corner of Oceanborn. It is Team Liquid's Cure.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing himself. It is NightMare.
Yeah, sad to see NightMare not continuing on with Maturino.
Yeah, it's very bittersweet, and I hope he can find a new home. I hope he can find a new place, a new team for himself. He's down in the series, but I'm not gonna lie, mate. As soon as I saw the bracket, as soon as I saw NightMare going on a tear, I was like, are we gonna get another PvP finals? Like, is it happening? Whenever we cast it happens, mate. It happens.
That would actually be amazing. Yeah, I don't know like how we could channel that to happen. NightMare just getting all these upsets to get to the finals just so that it can be PvP for us.
Yeah. Make it happen, NightMare. We need to continue the trend.
Yeah, absolutely. But and NightMare's looked really good. He took down Stats, Gumiho, and then Oliveira. He looked very, very strong, but Cure's TVP is just so good.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, Cure has arguably the best Terran versus Protoss in Korea, right? Like, arguably the best in the world. Like, he's so damn good at what he does, and yeah, with that, like, even here, we're forcing a really interesting game here. He does force the, I was going to say he was going to force the unnatural natural, but no, NightMare is going to try to fight for this. Cure, he's respecting this quite a bit, by the way. Hard committing here to what he believes would have been an all-in.
I mean, that's a fair thing to believe because no base has been taken. And there's a Robo now on the way on the low ground here. So I don't really know where we're headed in this game already. Keeping it nice and spicy.
Yeah. We have a Robo before expansion, which is crazy, which means even though we're going to shut down this eBay, NightMare may actually just go for a one-base all-in. Like, it's on the table. Oh, no,
no, immediately. The moment you said that, he puts down that Nexus. Perfect timing. But Cure doesn't have a base either. He's 1-1-1ing it right now. The old classic build here.
Is this how the games have been going? Because this is actually crazy what we're seeing right now.
Not even a little bit. This is like we're off the chains here.
Oh my god, we're off the rails right now. So as you mentioned, a straight up 1-1-1. Cure does throw down the CC on the high ground, but it's a very late expansion for Cure.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna end up in a normal game somehow. Both players just decided like, okay, we're just gonna tech first and then expand later. Now NightMare is going for a Stargate.
Yeah. I like how we joined forces, Chickenman. We joined forces, and then this is what happens when we join forces.
Yeah.
Going robot before expansion into another tech structure into Stargate. Like, this is a little bit disjointed from NightMare, but I mean, at the same time, he also probably believes he's being all in, but he isn't. And at the same time, Cure is also taking into Banshees.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Banshee tech from Cure. Unfortunately, I think he's about to run into Observer Phoenix, so it's like worst case scenario for the Banshees. But if this wasn't all in, the Banshees would be great to defend against it. So
100%.
And then, you know, if NightMare was being all in, I guess Immortal Phoenix is a pretty good composition to deal with that. Yeah. You know, if you need it.
Yeah. Both players are respecting each other quite a bit here, and we're ending up in a really weird game state. As you're saying, you know, Phoenixes are well underway for the time being. The Observer hasn't gone into the main yet, so NightMare actually isn't aware of the Cloak Banshees for the time being, but he should have everything he needs to defend against it.
Yeah, they might be able to get a couple of kills here or there. We'll see if NightMare puts down a shield battery, which would stop one from getting really any kills, but yeah, it might still be able to get some cheeky damage. We could also see those Phoenixes fly to the other side of the map at the most inopportune moment, which often happens.
Oh, yeah. It does. And this is just a really weird way for that NightMare is getting to Phoenix Colossus, right? Like, it's a little bit disjointed, but, you know, Robo eventually into Stargate, now into the base. So this is kind of evening up. This is becoming a little bit more standard here out of NightMare.
Yeah, and he's getting straight into the Colossi. I mean, I think that's a great choice. Phoenix Colossus, what a classic composition. But I haven't seen him go for this at all in any of these PVTs. Oh. So,
okay.
You know, this is different for him. And here come the Banshees. They are going to get some damage done. This is really nice. The Observer just a little too far away. I don't even know where the Observer is. It's getting recalled.
Yeah, it's getting recalled back home, but we're getting far too much damage as we get 16 pro kills. The entire mineral line goes down just like that, and suddenly Cure has a massive economic lead.
Yeah, I mean, that was huge. I thought for sure it'd be like 5 or 6 kills, right? Banshees come in, they get some damage done, the Observers and the Phoenix fly over there, it's done. 17! Like you said, that's the whole mineral line. That's all the probes in the main. NightMare's third. If that was earlier, maybe I wouldn't hate this so much, but Cure's third base is done. It's in his main, turning it into an orbital. And NightMare is... Yeah. He's just behind now. Like, real behind.
Yeah, NightMare's in a really rough position here. He needs to make some magic happen, whether it's, you know, having these Phoenixes pop off and kill 16 SCVs, you know, do something crazy like that. If he's able to catch the army out of position. As you mentioned, the onus right now is on NightMare to combat because, as you mentioned, right now he is strictly behind.
Yeah, he absolutely has got to get that economy back up there and figure out a way to get a good trade against Cure. I mean, he's got the Colossi coming out. Those are, you know, good in a straight-up fight. There is a Raven here, but he doesn't have the Interference Matrix upgrade, and it's never mind, it's dead anyways, so good kill there for NightMare.
Yeah, very nice. It's the beginning. It's the beginning of a comeback, you know? I mean, it wasn't a free trade. He did lose a Phoenix in the process, and he doesn't have too many, and I'm sure Cure is aware of this, right? So with so few Phoenixes, Cure can go for drop play. He can suddenly, you know, unlock the map and be that much more aggressive against NightMare.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate to see him try to utilize that. I mean, 2 Phoenixes it's just not scary. Get some drops going. Could be good. He's got a lot of tanks too, and I actually think the tanks can be extra good without the Phoenixes there to lift them up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So Kira, he's got options. You know, the world is his oyster right now. He can do whatever he wants at this point. And NightMare, where do we go from here? We're getting up to 3-way saturation. We're getting there. We do have a second robot for double Colossus production and potentially double Disruptor. Disruptors can be a good way to come back if we get some good Novas.
Yeah, I mean, I think Disruptors are always going to be very good. You really can't go wrong. But I like this move. A few Adepts shading into the natural, trying to get some damage done. Going to focus down a couple of SCVs. Actually going to get, what, 6 of them?
Yeah, 6 SCVs going to be going
7.
down.
All right.
Pretty good here. Yeah, especially considering Adepts, they don't really do much in the main army, so they trade well.
Yeah, I think that was a good catch there for NightMare. It's going to give him the worker lead once again. So he gets that back. It's 3 base to 3. Still behind quite a bit in that army supply. And this is something I've noticed from NightMare's play today is his upgrades have been consistently behind the Terrans. And I mean, it hasn't mattered, I guess, since he's here. He won all those games, but you know, Cure's very, very good on that. He's got 1-1, 2-2 starts up right away. NightMare is finishing up +1 attack right now. I don't really expect him to like go for a double forge, try to really pump out upgrades. That's kind of cute though. Yeah. A fleet beacon. All right.
Okay, I like this. So if NightMare, if he can cut some corners, if he can defend, if he can survive a little bit longer, then rushing into Skytoss could be a good way to come back into this. The scary thing is, though, that Kira shouldn't really be like resting on his laurels, right? He should be active quite soon, and things are going to get pretty intense for NightMare once Kira pushes out.
Yeah, I do worry about that. I mean, Kira's army is looking pretty terrifying. He's got Vikings coming out now. Oh, but that Observer. Oh, the Novas. Oh, Cure, man. How does he react so quickly?
Oh, my God.
I mean,
He's crazy.
That's Imba.
He does pull back in time. He avoids the Novas for the time being. Thankfully, NightMare didn't lose his Disruptors or anything like that. So he's going to be shocking around for more damage. The other scary thing is that Kira, he's already building up a Viking count. Even if we get into carrier production, which is starting, by the way, it is currently underway, Kira, he's not going to have the worst army against even Skytoss.
Yeah, and I mean, those first couple of carriers they're just the worst thing in the world. Like, one carrier, it's actually worse than 0 carriers. Because that money could have been anything else, and it would have been better as anything else.
We're shaming this carrier, so you're useless. Oh my God.
It's actively hurting NightMare being in that army. But once it's joined by a few friends, you know, they're pretty good.
Yeah. We only like you when there's 2 of you, at least. Oh, I feel so bad for the carrier. But
poor
you're not wrong. Yeah, you're right. Like, when it comes to carrier production, we have to hit critical mass, right? We have to get, 3, 4, up to 6 carriers, and we're getting there. We're banking them up. And for the time being, Kira doesn't know what's going on. Kira, instead, he is focusing on just turtling up and getting his 4th. He is chilling here, and he's giving NightMare the opportunity to actually have a chance and actually bounce back in this game.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of love that NightMare went for this gamble, right? He was behind, and going for carriers put him more behind until those carriers come to fruition. That's a scary place to be, but it's paying off. His +1's about to finish for those carriers. He's got 3 more in production, 3 already out. If he can get up to like 8 carriers, there's a moment where if Cure's really not ready for it, 10 Vikings is pretty good, I will say.
Yeah.
But if he's got like 8 carriers, it's not quite enough. Right? Be careful.
Exactly, like this could be a position where Cure, he can now work towards Liberators, and there it is. We have Fusion Core on the way, 2 more Starports, and Liberators, they're amazing against a Ground Toss army, but it's going to be Sky Toss instead, and Cure actually doesn't know that. Like, looking at his vision, he hasn't seen anything. He hasn't been scouting at all, so he may have a decent army right now against Sky Toss, but again, he's still not fully aware of what's coming his way.
Yeah, NightMare's been very careful to keep all those carriers back. They could come out if they needed to, but now they're going to finally join the army. Now that he's up to 6 of them, still has more coming out, but I mean, the players are maxed. Now's kind of the time. If NightMare is going to show his hand, he's got to do it soon.
Oh, exactly. And here we go. We are getting ready to push out. The army has been spotted here by a couple of units of NightMare, and we'll see if he still looks to refine his army, maybe get into a mothership, maybe start working towards Tempest. When it comes to the splash damage, he doesn't have any High Templar, no Storm. He's heavily relying on these Disruptors, and there's still a lot of potential in those Novas.
Yeah, there's 5 Disruptors out. The 2 Colossi as well. If the carriers are drawing fire, they can end up getting a bunch of damage done. We'll see if Cure tries to target those down first so the Marines can get underneath. But the Disruptors are the real scary threat here in terms of the splash damage. EMP's starting to land. There go the Novas. Cure trying to back up, but he's running out of space right now, and there's more Novas coming in. I think NightMare's done it. That's it. He surprised them with the carriers, and now he's just going to straight up win this fight. I don't think Cure has enough time to like build new stuff. If NightMare just keeps pushing, he is ahead over 50, 60 supply up in the army right now.
Even without the carriers, the Disruptors themselves just clean up the entire ground army, and you got the carriers as a cherry on top here to clean everything else up. And Cure, he was not ready for this. GG gets called. NightMare snowballs into a win.
Wow. I mean, that went perfectly to plan for NightMare, right? That was it. And I think I gotta put that on Cure, right? You gotta keep scouting, you gotta keep paying attention. I feel like we've all been in those games where you're ahead and you're feeling good and you're macroing, and then 8 carriers come across the map and you're like, oh, that's right, he can build those. That's like a unit that Protoss can build. You just don't think about it. And Cure, he was so passive that game. He didn't have any drops going. He wasn't even sending like Liberators out to try to get some probe damage. Nothing. He was just like, I'm ahead. That's cool. Just stay ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I think we were both a little bit surprised that Cure was so passive, right? Like, after a really strong start, you know, Cure, he had a phenomenal start to the game. He was strictly ahead, as you mentioned, and he was just chilling. I guess he was expecting an all-in. Like, he was expecting NightMare to push into him, and when he never did, Cure just kind of found himself in a really awkward position, and yeah, you know, just maybe a little bit overconfident out of Cure.
Yeah, it did kind of feel that way, and I love that NightMare ends up being able to pull that off. It shows you just how strong the carriers can be when they're not directly countered by the opponent player. I mean, he had all those Vikings, he had EMPs, he had a bunch of Marines, but you're right, the Disruptors just pinned him to a wall, and then there was nowhere to run. That's just a terrifying place to be against Disruptors.
It was terrifying, and you know, do we put it on Cure or do we put it on ourselves? You know, Chickenman, mate, there's something about the duck and the chicken that we don't know about yet, but it all aligns and it all just spells Protoss.
PvP is the foulest of matchups. So
there you go. Oh my god, I mean, shout out to NightMare, right? Like, he was in a really dire position. He found his way out, and he's tying it up. We're going to the A smash.
It's very impressive. Very impressive to see that, especially after the start of that game going so in favor of Cure.
Oh yeah. Really impressive stuff, and we'll see how it all ends here as we get ready for
game
number 3.
Love you, buddy.
And personally, like, I love Cure, and Cure is the favorite player, but I want to continue this narrative of PvP. You know, I like it.
I mean, I feel like Cure versus Hero would be such a great finals. But also, yeah, just casting another PvP finals would really, it would seal the deal. It's 100% our fault.
It's true.
For casting together.
Why do you make it sound like a bad thing? Like, oh no, it's a PvP.
We've ruined it for all the viewers.
Oh god. Take it away, man.
All right. Spawning in the upper left-hand corner of Golden Aura, we've got the red Terran player for Team Liquid. It's Cure.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss, tying up the series 1-1, forcing the ace match. It is NightMare.
Ah, what a good series this is now. I feel like, you know, we joined forces. You came into this match in game 2, and it immediately got weird. I really appreciate that.
I had no idea what was happening. I'll be honest. It was crazy. Remember, like, I don't want to gloss over. Like, it was a great game out of Nightmare. It was like Robo first before expansion, and then Cure was throwing down like he was going 1-1-1 on one base with a bunker. Like, it was like both players were like afraid that both players was going to be all inning. Like, it was a weird game.
I think what happened is not only did you not know what was going on, I didn't, and the players didn't either. They really weren't sure what was going on.
They had no idea.
And that just keeps it fresh, you know. A lot of times we think these players, they know every little detail about this game and about their opponent, and they practice together, they know each other, and sometimes they're like, what are you doing?
I agree with that sentiment, Chickenman. You know, Cyril, he actually knows nothing. He has no idea what's going on. It's crazy.
You know what? I bet you more often than you think, Cyril gets into a game and he goes, "What is he doing? What is happening right now?"
Oh my god. As we're settling into the ace match, and Nightmare going for something cheeky here. This is not an all-in, but a cheeky maneuver nonetheless. It's a proxy Stargate.
It is a nice little proxy Stargate. This is before any Nexus too, so gonna be nice and early little Oracle, and yes, dude. This is what we love to see. Nightmare giving us a gold Nexus to start things off.
I have to ask, because you were here. You casted Nightmare earlier against Gumiho and Oliveira. Was he doing stuff like this?
Extremely standard match. Like all those games were fully standard. He had like Phoenix openers. He did some 4-gate blink. Like it was very standard. I don't remember anything weird. He even macroed against stats in the PvP. Like Nightmare's been macro machine today. Until now.
Okay.
And Cure's gonna get the scout. This is a nice little scout for Cure.
Yeah, very nice here. He does check the Zolnaga. He sees the Nexus on the way. At the same time, here comes Yoracle, but Marines are in position. We're still going to get a couple of SCVs, though. Oh.
Yep, gets 2 of the SCVs. Those SCVs taking that extra little tick of damage to go down is so annoying here for Nightmare. Oh, the Hellion's going to get in. Shield battery is not quite done yet. I think 1 probe went down? Yeah.
Yeah. 1 worker went down. It's an okay amount of cannon damage here from Cure, but more importantly, he knows what's happening. Remember that Nightmare, he also knows he got scattered because his probe was killed at the Zolnaga, so everyone knows what's going on.
Yeah.
So we'll see how Nightmare recovers from
Nightmare
here.
made a mistake. He chrono boosted with his gold Nexus. He is main-arting those probes halfway across the map to get them to the gold. That, for sure, that was a mistake. I think he chrono boosted his Stargate. So that's like a lot of lost mining. That's a huge dip in the economy for Nightmare. And Cure also is just going to come across and kill this. And I don't think Nightmare can stop that from happening.
I mean, we have a shield battery on the way. We will soon have an overcharge as well. So overcharge it can be pretty good. But is it better than the new Cyclone? As it looks like Cure, he wants to try to catch some reinforcements. I love this, actually. Instead of going for the gold, he's going for the main.
Yeah, okay. I don't hate that. Also, Nightmare didn't recall those probes, so he has a recall available. So that could actually be really useful here for him. But it looks like he's going to be able to spot this. He's got the Oracle there, keeping an eye on things. He knows where this army is. And there's the recall. Oh, my God. You know what? That mistake, maybe it wasn't a mistake. Maybe Nightmare, he was like, I want to hold on to this recall.
The big brain moves right now, and it looks like we do have some lock-ons with those cyclones. We have a shield battery, but it's pretty far back here for Nightmare, so he has to be very careful with how he engages. But he does hold on. He does maintain control of both his gold and his main.
Yeah, and you know he's got a couple more gates going down. Blink's about to finish. Nightmare. That's 5 gates of Blink Stalkers. He's got the gold base, so I guess that makes sense. He doesn't have a robo with this though, so he's gonna have to warp in at some friendly pylons.
Yeah, I mean, he can still make use of the proxy. It's still out there. He does have a robot on the
Oh,
way,
there
and
it
I
is.
imagine that's going to be for the Prism, as he did just start it up. But yeah, Nightmare, he's gotten away with this opener so far, and now suddenly Nightmare has map control.
Yeah, I mean, this has gone surprisingly well for Nightmare. I really thought like his gold base got scouted, the Oracle really didn't get anything done. But so far this has worked out great. I say as 8 Marines are very close to that probe line. And recall is still on cooldown, I believe.
Yeah, recall is still on cooldown, so we can dive into the main base, and this could be disastrous here. You can see that Nightmare, he has map control. He's like scouring the map right now. He sees everything. He does come across the drop. He's now aware.
Oh, that Phoenix scouting it, and actually the lift up from Cure here, unfortunately, turns out to be the wrong choice. He for sure could have gone in earlier on, but sits there too long, waits too long, and misses his opportunity. That's a big miss there for Cure. He doesn't necessarily realize how big of a miss, but it's a bit unfortunate.
I'm telling you, there's something about Nightmare today, and here we go. He picks up a medevac as well. Big pickoff here. There's only one medevac with the army. Picks up a couple of these units. Does have a sage trap to support this. The drop is looking to come back in, but Nightmare, he wants to commit.
Yeah, I mean, I love this blink play from him right now, and he's got these stalkers out here to try to deal with this drop, or at least keep an eye on it. It's going to make it harder for Cure to get into the base again. But Nightmare doing a great job keeping tabs on everything. And even as this medevac does boost into the main, it's a lot less scary when Nightmare knows about it. He can warp in back at home. It's just 6 Marines now. Charge is not quite done yet, so these slow zealots are going to really do their best against this, but I guess that works.
Big sage trap. Yeah, it does go for the main base. At the same time, looks like we got a mine drop towards the bottom left. 11 probes go down. At the same time, the Prism getting ready to dive into the main. Things are getting a little bit chaotic here as Cure is pushing as well.
Yeah, Cure trying to push through the middle of the map. I really like this choice since Nightmare's been so pokey and proddy. Sometimes just straight up attacking into that's the right choice here. And he's going to move right up into the main base. There's no natural here. Super Shield Battery turns on. Kind of an awkward position for Nightmare. He does have those stalkers on the other side of the map, and he does have that recall available, but it looks like they are walking home. Pylon's getting taken down. Charge is not going to finish, but I think Nightmare can still clean this up. However, 14 SCVs going, or probes going down is so painful.
And here come the reinforcements. We see Cure just sending them towards the bottom left-hand corner of the map as well. Cure is looking to pull apart his opponent. He will lose that army, as you were saying, but Nightmare, does he have enough to counterattack? That's the big question.
Yeah, and Cure's got a lot of stuff back at home, but Cure also doesn't have like a third base up and running just yet. The CC is finished up now, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if Nightmare's got enough to push across. He is very committed, it feels like. And is that another drop in his main base? Killing more probes right as he leaves. Probes are pulled to fight against this, but the medevac healing that front Marine. Oh, no, this is falling apart for Nightmare. Cure just picking him apart. He's going to go for the counterattack. It's all he can really do. There's just too many Marauders, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're all in at this point, but there's just so many Marauders, a couple of Marines as well. The medevacs do sustain ourselves as 14 probes have gone down. With the overcharge, we should eventually clean this up. But Nightmare, we have to commit. The problem is that there's just too much here for Cure.
Yeah, I don't see how Nightmare can break this. He's down at just over a half of the army supply of his opponent. He's on 21 workers. He's blink microing his heart out, but the Stim Marauders just make that seem impossible. And those 2 Marines are still alive in that base. Finally, they will get taken out, but every single probe in the main is dead. They're all gone.
Yeah. Every single worker. GG gets called, and Cure will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals.
Dang it. I was really hoping.
I mean, things were going surprisingly well for Nightmare here. You know, we thought things were disastrous when he got scouted, but Nightmare defended beautifully. But as we saw, things got really chaotic, and yeah, Cure was just so active, so aggressive, and Nightmare had a really hard time like defending both bases at once.
Yeah, he really did. Cure turning on the Cure juice.
Oh,
and attacking everywhere as he's wont to do. Great multitasking. And he will be moving on to the grand finals.